Good afternoon and welcome to Job Help Hotline. My name is Doug Rapp. I'm here from Greater Westtown Project. And today I have with me Charlie Negrone, also from Greater Westtown. And we're going to be talking about our Woodworkers training program. And I'm going to put some slides up on the screen in a little while. And most importantly, I want to mention before we get started that this is an interactive show, and you'll see a number at the bottom of your screen for Job Help Hotline, 312-738-1060. If you have a question about our program as we're talking about it, if we haven't covered something and you have an idea about getting involved in the program, please call and you can get your question answered on air and we can give you any details that you need. We're going to try to be pretty comprehensive in covering all the aspects of the program, but we miss things, or if we're not moving fast enough, please just call right in and ask a question. In a little while, we'll also be putting up our program information on the screen so you can see our address, our telephone number. If you decide this is something that you're interested in and you'd like to pursue it, you can call us directly to set up an appointment to come out and take a look at the program. And from there, we'll also have our web address. You can see more detail about Greater Westtown Project, Greater Westtown Training Partnership, which are our job training programs, and all of the services that we offer at Greater Westtown. So I think we can get started with just a little background on our organization. We have, I'm going to just quickly put up the slide so you can see our name and phone number, and then we're going to take a look also at just a little background in terms of our formula for success. So we're located now at 500 North Sacramento Boulevard, and we offer adult job training, and that's our formula for success right there. Skills plus motivation plus opportunity. And I'm going to stop just a second here. To give you a little background on what woodworking is, here's a variety of products that our graduates will go on to build in the woodworking industry with various companies. So, Charlie, can you talk a little bit about maybe where some of our graduates end up? I think we want to talk about the process of how to get into the program,
Sure.
But for people who don't really know what woodworking is, maybe you can give them a little idea.
Okay. So when people hear the term woodworking, they automatically think carpentry.
Mm-hmm.
There's a little difference there. Carpentry and woodworking are differentiated by a trade. So woodworking, you're in a shop most likely all day, making components for furniture, cabinetry, architectural millwork. People will go on to make musical instruments, finish work for molding, things of that nature. Carpentry, you're talking more framing homes, laying down concrete, masonry work, plumbing, all those things in building a home trade. So
we're really talking about kind of the distinction between the building trades or construction and
the
manufacturing side,
right,
which is what we're involved in, the manufacturing side of things.
So construction, it's I would say a precise kind of trade, but woodworking is more precision. Where if a person's making a house and it's 21 feet tall, if they're off half an inch, 2 inches, no one's really gonna know. Whereas if someone's making a high-end cabinet and they need to be specific about where it's going to be placed in the home, and it's got to be scribed right up against the wall perfectly, so there's no seams, so it deals with a lot of precision.
Okay, so we're talking about some stuff that happens in the field, like you mentioned, millwork, built-ins, things like cabinets. Mm-hmm. So there's some crossover into the kind of carpentry construction trades.
Right.
But then there's also all kinds of freestanding furniture and
freestanding, right? So woodworking, you're talking about stuff that's movable in a home, whereas carpentry, you're basically making the home, and woodworkers put everything that's inside the home, from molding to the furniture, to the cabinets, to the tables, end tables, things of that nature.
Right. So viewers out there, if this sounds interesting at all to you, we're going to give you some details about how the program works, but feel free at any time to give us a call at the number on the bottom of your screen at Job Help Hotline, 312-738-1060. And I think, there is a lot of misconception about what woodworking is. We talked about that. A lot of people just think in terms of carpentry, seasonal, or working outside.
Right.
So these are year-round jobs. And we actually just graduated a class recently.
Right. They graduated about a week and a half ago. And right now they're in mode of we're helping them get placed on the job, and we could talk about placement later also. We had about 16 graduates, and right now 2 have been placed on jobs,
Okay.
and they're working at the moment. And what we want to do is just continue that job search for the other graduates of our program. We want 100% placement
Okay.
at end of training.
And for example, one of our graduates is working for a high-end frame manufacturer, right?
Right.
A very famous, well-known picture framing company.
Picture framing.
And the other one?
ones are making restaurant booths.
Oh, yeah. So you can see just there, restaurant booths, picture frames. You know, you can imagine all the diverse products made from wood. Our graduates from Greater Westtown Training Partnership are out there working, making a good living, making these products with various companies in Chicago and all over the nearby suburbs
Yes.
as well. So I think we should talk a little bit about kind of getting into the program, maybe what's required.
Sure.
So
So
can you-
there's some requirements, and I'll just tell people right now that we are starting our application process for our next class that's going to be starting in late March. And some of the requirements is that a person needs to be at least 18.
Mm-hmm.
They have to test at a 7th grade level in math and reading, just because we do deal with a lot of measurements, and we want to make sure that they're going to be able to handle some of that shop math that's done in the class. Other requirements is that person has to be low income in order to qualify for funding. So
the training is no cost if
No
someone
cost.
is eligible.
right.
Okay.
So those eligibilities might be somebody who may be on unemployment compensation.
Right.
Training would be free. If a person's receiving public aid of some nature, that will also qualify them. Or if their income level is under a certain level, we would look at their financial situation and go from there.
Okay.
And the last requirement is that they would need to be able to pass a drug test.
Okay. So, in other words, we have funding available. We're not asking anybody to take out a loan or put cash down. We are looking for some basic income guidelines that we're going to take a look at. But we have funding in place that we can use to cover the cost of
Right.
an individual's
Right.
training.
Yeah, we know that the person who might be coming to our training may be financially strapped. We want to make sure that they don't have to worry about that aspect of coming into training, about loans of that type of nature. So.
Right. Thinking back a little bit in terms of the background of the program, we've been around for about 20 years. We're actually going into our 20th year now. I've been an instructor with the program for 19 years. Charlie's been with us
12
for
years.
12 years. So both of us would be instructors with you working in the shop if you joined the program. And the idea really getting started was to create a kind of fast track for individuals to get skills that would get them into an entry-level position in a woodworking shop, right?
Yeah.
So, and that's really still what we're all about. The program itself is about 14 weeks long.
14 weeks long.
Yeah, we're taking a look at some improvements where we may make the program a little bit longer and make an option for some extensions to training.
There's some changes in the works that looks pretty exciting.
Yeah.
So a person who's coming through might not have to deal with some of the old curriculum, but again, being fast-tracked on a course to getting that job a little bit quicker.
Right. So the idea is for us to work with individuals on the areas that they need the most work on. But at the same time, we're going to create a really good foundation of skills. We have an environment where you can learn. We're in a new facility now, which I mentioned earlier. That we're at Sacramento and Franklin Boulevard. We've moved from our old Fulton location, if you have seen us on the show before. And really the idea is to get people started quickly in the woodworking industry. But that requires a full-time commitment. So the one important thing is to understand that this is full-time training. You would be in training from about 8 in the morning, maybe as early as 7 o'clock in the morning till as late as 4 o'clock in the afternoon. You'd need to be available for those hours full-time Monday through Friday. So in a sense, it's like working a full-time job.
Right.
And the payoff is the skills and the ability to secure a job in the industry.
Right. So if you're going to show some of those slides, some of the machines that a person might be working with are...
Yeah, I'd like to take a look, just kind of, again, getting past some of the misconceptions about the industry. You know, people think about woodworking, they think about, construction, but they also might think about the wood shop that they saw in high school, or their grandfather's wood shop, or their
the
dad's,
TV show,
or the TV shows. And honestly, we are way beyond that in terms of both technology and the type of equipment that we're working with. So I'm going to just put up some of our more advanced panel processing equipment here. At the same time, you're going to see a phone number on the screen. You'll see Greater Westtown Training Partnership, and you'll see our phone number if you're interested in applying to the program, taking a look, no obligation to come out and take a look at the program. You'll see our number on the screen. That's the 312-563-9570 number, so you can jot that down and give us a call. And again, if you have a question about anything that we're talking about right now, or any of the slides you see on the screen, feel free to call the number right there at the bottom of your screen, 312-738-1060, and we can answer your question right on the air. So let's take a look at one of these big pieces of equipment that we have here in the shop. First one we're looking at, what is this, Charlie?
That's our sliding table saw. It's that one's just a little bit different than the one we have in the shop. It's Altendorf, and basically it's used to cut large panel products.
I think we have a little video which we'll launch here, maybe.
So that video is a student that came through the training program, maybe about 9 years ago.
Yeah, probably longer.
No, actually longer than that.
15 years ago, maybe. It's been a while.
So, and he's running the machine. It's actually one of those pieces of equipment that's really easy to use. Still easy, but want to make sure that the person operating the machine are safe. So he's got actually a nice technique. It's again, it's used for large, cutting large panel products, one-person operation. That's the benefit of it.
Great. So let's take a look at this next one here. And what are we looking at here?
And this is a edge banding machine. So if a person's not familiar, if they've ever taken a entertainment center home in a box and they come out with all of these panels, and the front edge usually looks really nice when you look in the front of it, but the back of it's a particle board. What this person's doing is taking one of those, maybe those components of an entertainment center, and actually putting a banding right on the edge of that, just to kind of give it a finished look.
So here we're dealing with some automatic equipment. We'll get you through all of the setup and operation of this equipment. As we get into the more advanced equipment, the skills involved, the machines may look easy to operate, but then we get into more of the
technical
important
side of it.
Setup skills that are so crucial. And probably kind of the centerpiece of that shop is this Cnc Machining Center.
Right. This is the one that we actually have in our shop. It's the same model, the one that you see operating right now. It's our machine. We nickname it Wiki. Well, actually, the manufacturer did. And it's a point-to-point panel processing machine. And we'll usually start working with that maybe about the 4th or 5th week of training, give them maybe just an introduction into it. And later on in training, what we'll do is just teach the students how to not only set up the machine, but program the software to go ahead and do the various operations that you might see on the machine now.
And you'll see, if you're looking for a job now and you're watching the want ads, you'll see a lot of jobs available for CNC machining. A lot of those are in the metalworking industry, but the woodworking industry has really moved into a lot of this automated equipment, and our program is up to date, providing all the training to operate that equipment. And typically what we do is get people started so that they can have a good understanding of all the various equipment in the shop. And we have very traditional machines, table saws, joiners, planers, all the way through to those larger industrial machines that you have there, those more automated pieces of equipment in the shop. So I think we kind of started talking about the intake process a little bit, what's involved, kind of the requirements. So let's talk about the steps to get in the program a little bit.
So usually, maybe somebody out there who might be interested, they're thinking, okay, how am I going to go ahead and maybe get involved with this training program? Right now, we are taking applications. We are having information sessions or orientations done on Wednesdays. Next Wednesday we have orientation. If you want to give us a call, you can call our number. And basically what the intake or the orientation is, we'll tell you more about the training program, the requirements of the training, how you're going to be able to apply. We'll also give you a tour of the facility so that way the person could actually go in there and see what type of equipment they'll be working on. We do have some students that are still coming by from the last training program, just keeping engaged and keeping their skills up to par. So those people who are coming in for to apply may be able to ask those students a question and see what they're doing, working on also.
Yeah, so there's activity in the shop. You'll be able to see the shop up and running. You could come in as soon as tomorrow if you were real interested and you wanted to just show up tomorrow. Try to get in there at 8:45.
8:45 in the morning.
Yeah, we get started promptly. But certainly you can call and we can set up an appointment. We're looking at starting our next class the end of March, so we still have some time to get you out and get you oriented. And again, if there's something you're just curious about, best way to find out more is to really come out and visit the program. And certainly you can take a look at our website. I'll put up on the screen for just a second here, again, all of our contact information, and you'll be able to see our telephone number there and our web address, www.gwtp.org. Now you're going to come to the website of our entire organization there, so just look for the links to the woodworking training program. While you're there, you'll also see links to all of our other programs, including our shipping and receiving training and our alternative high school program. Right now, the program that we're currently recruiting for is woodworking, so we're taking applications for that program right now.
So getting back to the orientation, so when a person comes in, what they'll also do is they'll fill out an application.
Right.
And what we usually ask is that a person, when they come out and fill out an application, that they give as much work history as possible. It's always important. So they'll do the tour, they'll get an application. We'll also give them a small measurement test.
Okay, well, back up 1 second. So you're asking me to fill out an application with work history. Do I have to have experience to get into the program?
No.
Okay.
No, you don't need. That's our job as instructors. What we want to do is give them our experience and our standard for working inside of a shop setting. So, you might see a typical shop. We do have a high level of safety that's involved in our shop and a high level of teaching also.
So I think if you do have experience, you'll certainly see, maybe from the slides you just saw with the equipment there, even if you have some woodworking experience, we probably have some equipment that you haven't used before. And we might have a new approach to making things, building things, working in this manufacturing environment that you could benefit from. So both the inexperienced and individuals who have done some woodworking before, or especially any kind of manufacturing occupation, can do really well on the program. In a little while, I'll put up another slide and kind of, you can do a little self-evaluation in terms of what kind of person does well in this field. But you have to kind of think about, if you're going to do this, it should be something that you enjoy doing. Again, if you're not sure, come out and take a look at the program, and we'll go through in just a little bit more about that. So you were talking about intake, and you mentioned a test. So tell me about the testing again.
Measurements. So sometimes this freaks people out when they come in. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm going back to school, right? And they might have not gone to school for many years. One thing I forgot to mention. The person has to be 18,
right?
But there's no upper limit.
Yeah.
So a person who might have, come in and, they're 42 or whatever, and they might have, been to school for so many years, kind of freak out a little bit.
Old like me, 42.
So we'll give them a small measurement test, and basically what we wanted to see, just kind of gauge, if they can read a ruler or do some basic math. Right. So I think we've got a caller.
Okay, we have a caller. Go ahead, caller, you're on the air.
Yes, how much is for the course?
Okay, that's a great question. The program is designed so that it is no cost to you if you are income eligible. So we're looking for low-income Chicago area residents. The best way to do an income determination is over the phone or in person if you come out and take a look at the program. But there would be absolutely no cost to you if you're eligible.
I see. Okay, and this is at 500 North Sacramento, right?
North
Yes.
Sacramento Boulevard. Yeah, we're at the corner of Sacramento and Franklin Boulevard. And if you look for the signs, there'll be signs directing you to the vocational entrance, which is kind of around back through a parking lot.
Okay, and then this is on Wednesday?
Yes.
Yeah, right now we have intake scheduled tomorrow morning at 8:45, and then the next day will be the 15th, which is next Wednesday.
Okay, and then how long is the course?
Great. These are all great questions. The course is 14 weeks. As Charlie mentioned, graduates are encouraged to continue on in training. So we have graduates coming back and working in the shop until they get placed.
Job placement too?
Yes.
Yep, job placement is included. That's a great question. We're hitting a lot of important points here. I'm glad you called. Job placement is part of the program, so we work with you and our network of employers to get you placed in a full-time entry-level job.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Great. Thanks for calling. All right.
So back to the measurements. So,
Yeah.
so the person might come in and there's just certain things we're looking for. Can they read a ruler? Maybe some basic math. If we're looking at a panel that they need to cut down, how many pieces would you be able to get out of a certain panel? Certain just simple kind of math questions of that nature. So it's basically 30 questions. And basically we'll talk to the person also. If they got any questions, that's a good time to ask questions. It's basically an information session. And what we want to do is just make sure that they have enough information so they can make a good, sound judgment if the program is going to be a good fit for them or not.
Right. Well, I see the clock is winding down here. We're running out of time quickly. I want to hit a couple more really important points. If you're thinking about this as a career, don't rule it out. If all this talk of testing is scaring you, we're really not. None of these tests are pass-fail, where we say, well, you have this number or not. We're really looking for, above all else, motivation. So I'm going to put a couple more slides up on the screen here, and I want you to just take a look and think about a job in the woodworking industry here. Above all else, if you've ever thought about something you really wanted to learn, especially, motivation is the key. So the question is, are you ready to start working towards a new career? Really, that's what we offer, the opportunity for you to work hard to learn skills and prepare for a new career. And these are some of the things here that, some kind of questions that you can ask yourself working in this environment. Are you alert and safety-minded? Are you a morning person? Detail-oriented? Are you a problem solver? Are you ready to work on your feet all day? And of course, are you good with numbers? These are all things that are really keys to doing well and being successful in the industry. But it's not a matter of walking in the door with all those skills, right?
I'll tell you a quick story. There was a female, right? So it's not just a man industry. Female came in and she is one of our students. And we usually drill towards the beginning of the training program with measurements, and she came in and she didn't really have a clue about reading a ruler, and just one day going through basically how to read a ruler, and it just clicked. It just went on her mind. So like you were saying, it's not a thing where you pass fail, but the thing is, are you able to absorb all that knowledge and gain that experience? Because our job is to try to be as successful with our customers as possible.
Yeah, and we've created a really nice environment in the shop just to get you all the skills that you need. But it's if you remember that formula I flashed on the screen real quick early on, it's skills plus motivation plus opportunity. The skills we can teach you. You have to bring the motivation. Right. The opportunity is out there in the shops run by our employer partners, and we partner with a lot of different companies that we're always in contact with who are hiring from our program and also constantly looking at our curriculum and taking a look at what we're teaching and how we're teaching it to make sure that we're on target with the skills that you're going to need to succeed in the industry. I'm going to put one last slide. You've seen this one before, but just so you can get our information down one last time. We're out of time for calls. We have just a few seconds left on the show here today. And again, we're Greater West Hahn Training Partnership recruiting for our Woodworkers training program. As soon as you can come in is tomorrow morning at 8:45. Otherwise, give us a call and we can set you up as early as Wednesday the 15th. come take a look at the program. Take a look at us on the web at www.gwtp.org. And I want to just say a quick thanks to Charlie for coming and helping me with the show today, and also to Judy, our phone tech, who took a few calls for us. And have a good evening.
Thank you.